This Ally 400 Betting Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
It is always music to my ears when I hear that music. And of course, it is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. You know, it's funny, Cody, if you're watching YouTube right now, Cody tried this yesterday. I was not on the show yesterday. And he was very sad that he was not able to get this in while we were there. But he is holding up a free Kyle Busch sign. For the love of God, can somebody please free Kyle Busch? And really, honestly, Cody, let's put it this way. Kyle Busch needs to be freed from his own mind. Like this guy has really just gotten so far into his head now that I don't know if there's any coming back.
Well, Rod, the freeing has begun. Andy Petrie is fired. Andy Petrie has retired effective immediately from as the head man over at RCR. I don't know that I saw somebody on Reddit because Keith Rodden is the guy replacing him. Somebody on Reddit already said that Hitler has left the building and been replaced by Stalin. So I don't know that it's the greatest upgrade in the history of the world. But the hashtag free Kyle Busch has begun. Oh boy!
But has it though? But has it, Cody? Has it?
We're gonna talk about that in a little bit, Rob.
Yeah. It's just, to me, I feel so bad for the guy. I mean, we've harped on him. Don't get us wrong. Like we've definitely sung our fair share of hatred against Kyle Busch when he's bad, but this just feels like it's just kicking a guy when he's down.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it, Rod. I shouldn't have even brought it up. Well, I have with some news related to it, but I'm happy to see that Richard is maybe supposedly taking things seriously, and here we go.
Yeah. Here's the thing about it too. When it's all said and done, any kind of change, I mean, whether it's a head coaching change, whether it's a crew chief change, whether it's a driver change, whatever, we never know exactly what it's going to look like until it actually hits the ground running. So maybe this gives Kyle Busch another life in the rest of the season, or maybe it just makes him realize I need to spend more time watching my boy race, and maybe I'll retire. Much like AJ Punk or AJ Styles did in WWE.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that's good.
Wait, somebody who was keeping the tabs on where how far in we were to WWE.
Rod's back finally. 5 minutes and we already have a WWE reference. So that's what you get when Rod's around.
Gotta love it. Hey, George Beekman in the chat. He is here.
Figured it out. Showed up for a live show. Glad to see you here. Chat's already popping, Rod.
God, I love
They've
it.
been shout out to the chat. They've been carrying me through these solo shows as we have been missing you. But DM Punk saying the surprise return of Roddy Villagomez. Now smash a coconut on Cody's dome. Okay, well, thanks. And McFortune says, "Oh my God, Hot Rod, what's up?" And hi, Cody. Hi, Nick. How's it?
And he actually understands me, which is what I love about it. So and
yeah.
then Jessica saying he can only get better.
Well, yeah, you can't fall any farther when you're in last place every week. So I guess that's the good news for Kyle.
Are you talking about Kyle? Or are you talking about me? Because I feel like that's a true statement on both accounts. I just took an assessment test. I got to tell you first about something real quick, but I'll tell you about the assessment test after that. Make sure that you check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. They've started their top 10 fantasy preview series, their fantasy football preview series. QBs and tight ends episode are already live, and it's never too early for the National Football League. I don't know how Chris Berman says it, and I'll never ever say it like Chris Berman.
I love that in the ad read it says, say it like Chris Berman, and I was like, oh God.
National Football. I can't do it. I'm not even going to try. But I just took an assessment test in which we were told to say logical conclusions. Let's do this in NASCAR terms. All rowdy fans are rowdy. Some Kyle Busch fans are sane. Therefore, all Kyle Busch fans are sane. That is not a logical statement. But yeah, I
didn't realize I needed to bring alcohol for the show, Rod. I'll be right back.
Isn't it always a safe bet? I mean, this is my first episode back in a couple of days, so you should have known better.
Go really quick. Going back to the Sports Gambling Podcast, I got their top 10 tight ends, top 10 quarterbacks list out. I have two questions for you. Is Kyle Pitts a top 10 tight end, Rod? Yes or no?
Kyle Pitts? Hell no.
Yes. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. You too? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, quarterbacks. Kyler Murray. Nick and I were having this discussion the other day.
If you say he is a top 10, I am turning off this camera.
Well, see you later.
All right. Bye. NASCAR Gambling Podcast complete.
Kyler
We're done.
And fantasy quarterback this year. He's actually going to be the quarterback one at the end of the year.
Oh my God.
And Kyle Pitts will be a top 5 tight end. You can thank me later. But go check out that rankings.
Move along.
Sean very much disagreed with the Kyle Pitts take.
That was horrible take. But what's not a horrible take is the fact that we are going to enjoy Nashville. And it's not Nashville. Please, nobody call it Nashville. It's Nashville. Nashville. I lived close enough to that to know exactly what it is. We are in
Norfolk, where it's Norfolk.
We are there for the Ally 400, back to the Nashville Superspeedway, which is a 1.3 mile track of Superspeedway. I don't know if that really is, but
yeah, some of these because there's another. What's the other track that is Superspeedway that's not like?
I don't remember now off the top of my head.
It's in the name, but it's like
know how much information has been crammed down my gullet the last few days.
I get.
Want me to expect me to remember what other one is a Superspeedway? But yeah, 1.3 mile track here again. Another track that is a weird dimension and a weird shape, and its very own uniqueness. So I'm loving this.
Yeah, we've kind of had a little bit of. It's been different, but sort of the same lately. Like it's been a lot of short tracks and stuff, but this one is unique. It's a 1.33 mile concrete track, so it makes it different. I was trying to figure out how to compare this track, Rod, because I'm like, what? How do you compare it? And really, it's unique. As Ryan over at iFantasy Race, he's got his comparison. Like he has a whole article that has all the tracks. You can go look right now to all the tracks for the whole season and like what the comps are to it. And I think really he's kind of spot on. It says unique. It's a unique track. It's almost a mix between Dover and the high speed 1.5 mile tracks. I'll note though, it's not really either, more of a hybrid. So I think that as at least from the way that I kind of am approaching this is we're going to take into account Dover. We're going to take into account the 1.5 miles. We're going to take into account some recent form, maybe not a ton because it's been shorter tracks. Maybe a little bit you could look at Gateway because it's the same size, but it's asphalt. Like there really is no true comparison. So it's going to be taking a little bit here, taking a little bit there. We have had 3 races here at Nashville now, so we've got some decent track history to look back on over the last couple of seasons. So that will be helpful as well.
I've given up handicapping on any certain way other than this is what I think. Because nowadays I look at these tracks and I'm like, you can't compare it to anything other than itself half the time. And then the other half of the time, it's like, okay, but I did compare it to itself. And these guys, oh, look, rain. Oh, look, a caution that wasn't thrown, that would have been thrown on any other freaking day. Like, oh, now we want to wait to see if this is actually a spin out when the dude just barely turned his wheel to the left and they're like, oh my God, caution. Oh my God, caution. Like the inconsistency of this whole thing is getting ridiculous. So I got terms for that one. We got WWE and an assessment test all in the first few minutes. Have to love this show, my brother. I love you. And I'm so glad that you're here to hang out with us.
See how much more exciting it is when Rod's here. George wants to know, are we fading Larson? We're going to talk about Larson.
We will.
I don't know that we're fading him, but we're kind of back to one of those points where, because what's his outright's pretty short.
Yeah, it's 450 in some spots that I saw.
Again, kind of back to that part of he's getting a little bit too low to trust him. He hasn't necessarily dominated here. Like,
not here.
He's not been one of the 3 winners that we've had here, which have been Joey Logano, surprise, he wins everywhere the first time we go there. Chase Elliott, and then Ross Chastain winning last year. So yeah, plus 450. Like, you did find a good way to bet on him, and I think that will be the way to go. But one of those deals where it's gonna be tough to find a way to bet on him again this year. Nick wants to know if Kyle Pitts is a top 5 tight end this year. I'll wear a Nebraska shirt for a day. If he isn't, wear an Iowa Hawkeye shirt. Well, let's revisit that, because I don't think he's necessarily being drafted as a top 5 tight end. Let's double check. Hit me up offline, Nick. We will.
You know what we'll do,
a
Cody.
deal on that.
We'll buy you a Corey LaJoy Iowa Hawkeyes. Yeah, that's what
I don't want anything Iowa Hawkeye.
It doesn't matter what you want, Cody. This is what the fans want. Have you learned nothing from the last few weeks, especially? It's what the fans want.
Yeah,
so
I know.
all right. So
there's one piece of news real quick too, before we get into the thing. Made official today. I mean, really is the news now, because we obviously knew this was coming. But Chase Briscoe gonna be in the 19 car next year. Who could have seen this coming? The biggest shock though is he walks. Well, yeah, Christopher Bell knew, which was great that they had him introduce him. I thought that was great on Gibbs Racing's part. So shout out to them. It probably would have been tough, but I heard somebody, I think maybe it was Door Bumper Clear, making the point of like they should just bring all the chases in. Like, you have Chase Elliott show up and Chase Briscoe show up and Chase Purdy show up. Any other guy named Chase you can find, and then it's like when a high school football player announces their selection. Like Christopher Bell walks over and puts the hat on Chase Briscoe, and it's like, you've been selected as the Chase to draft. But anyways, biggest
Chase
surprise
Paw
for
Patrol.
This. Yeah, there you go. Biggest surprise was Bass Pro is sticking with the 19 car and coming back. They had a long relationship with Martin Truex, dating all the way back to the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated days when he started racing there. And even prior to that, I think he had him like in ARCA, Xfinity, like all the way up. Been with him through every team he's gone to, which has been quite a few teams. I mean, he was been obviously here at JGR. He was at Furniture Row. He was at Michael Waltrip Racing. He was at DEI. He was at Ganassi, like all these different places. And Bass Pro went with him. So you weren't really sure where that was going to go or what was going to happen there, but they stick with Chase Briscoe. They will be the sponsor for the Daytona 500 and then a variety of other races next season. Not the full schedule, which they haven't been for Truex either. But yeah, I thought that was definitely interesting to see that they're going to retain that sponsorship.
I'm not. I think Bass Pro Shops loves that 19 so much, and I don't think that Chase Briscoe is. It's okay. So let's go this way, not to get too far off topic, but season win total next year, over under 1.5. How excited are we?
See, like that's the thing is I don't know, because I would say you have to, like, if I had to bet it right now, gun to head, you got to bet one right now, it's going to be the under, because we just don't know what we're going to see. I think the potential's there. We've seen it. We know how good Joe Gibbs cars are on short flat tracks. Now you put Briscoe in a short flat car that's really fast. Like, that's going to be a great combination. But at the same time, like, you've got Bell over there. You've got Hamlin over there. Ty Gibbs is going to continue to kind of come out and break out. Like, where is he going to fall kind of in the pecking order? And how is he going to adjust, right? We think that he's super talented and we think that he can do really well, but how many times have we seen these guys get that chance and then it doesn't work as well? So I think if you had to bet it today, it would be the under, but I am cautiously optimistic that things will go well for him.
You just want to say his name a lot next season. Brian, we see that point. I want to make that point, but I first want to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. I hate NASCAR officials. You ruin my underdog picks for the most part. There's a couple of them that hit, but for the most part, you throwing that and getting that race back going again, and then not letting them change tires. God, Cody, I really wish that I could have been on that recap with you. I had so many issues with that race. Pissed me off. But Underdog Fantasy still does you good, especially if you're a good picker of Underdog Fantasy, because Pick 8 is now live. You can create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog's going to automatically double flex those entries. So you can miss up to 2 picks and still win money. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. And the best part of all of this, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. You can also now use specials and boost on all flex entries. Cannot wait to make a new Pick 8 so I can get screwed over again, but I don't care. We'll share those specials with you on our Underdog Fantasy episode later on this week. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it is all gone. Plus, if you're already a user, deposit between now and UFC 303 for a 10% bonus cash. So if you're already a user, you still get an opportunity to cash in on some of this. So sign up today with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. It's underdogfantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. Let me take a second to tell you about Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Woo. Of course, Circa contests have no rake, which is even better. Circa Millions pick 5 NFL teams against the spread each week and compete for $6 million or survive the NFL gauntlet to claim the $10 million prize. You can sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th. That's a long time to sign up, and use a proxy to play from anywhere in the world. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGPN. You don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas? What are you doing? Yet before football? I didn't even want to read the rest of that sentence because you got to have a trip booked to Vegas before football season. The Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out, hang out with Ryan and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events. You had me at open bar at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through August the 24th. Yep, you had me at open bar. That's all there is to it.
That's always a way to get you pulled in, Rod.
Yeah, it is. When somebody says, well, is it open or is it cash bar? Open bar means it's free. So yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
Exactly. Love
it. Brian Twining says, wonder if Mahinda follows Briscoe to JGR, sticks with the single car Haas team, or leaves Cup altogether.
I would say they don't stick with the single car Haas team because and again, I gotta pay attention more to who says this stuff. I listen to so many things. I can't remember who says what, but somebody was making the point of, I think probably Door Bumper Clear again, like if you want to keep anyone at Haas, like you're gonna probably just have to pay them, because why would you want to stay at a one team operation that was not going to be in the sport 3 weeks ago that now suddenly is going to be a team that doesn't have a manufacturer currently? Like, what excites anything about this Haas factory team? Like nothing. If I was Mahindra, I would not be excited. They obviously had the Tony Stewart deal. They seem to love Chase. Like they sponsor his sprint cars and stuff like that a lot, which sorry, Chase, probably not gonna be able to do that anymore because we know how Joe is. He doesn't like anybody racing anything, which is too bad. But I would think they would go with him or just leave Cup altogether, which is obviously a possibility as well, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, again, unless Kevin Magnussen comes over and drives that single team car, I don't know that there's much to be excited about.
I think both those Haas drivers are looking for rides next year, Rod. So, that's a conversation for another day. Walter checking in. What's up, guys? Checking in. Had a nice Chase Briscoe top 10 and plus 330. Talked about it yesterday on the recap show. Make sure you go back and listen to that. I did have a nice little reminder in that show, Rod, for people that all these bets are going to hit. It's gambling. Don't rely on this to pay your bills. So make sure we just remind people that things go good some weeks, they go bad other weeks. Justin Haley, a perfect example. Top 10 was the right bet. Doesn't hit. Chase Briscoe was a horrible bet, but it hit because of the chaos we got late. That's how it goes sometimes. Walter also got Ty Gibbs top 10 at plus 115 before Caesars changes the odds. I don't think we're talking any Ty Gibbs today, Rod. But for our Ty Gibbs fans, I know we have a lot of them out there. Ryan over at iFantasy Race did say this year at Dover plus the high speed 1.5 mile track grouping, Ty Gibbs has the 5th best total speed ranking minus Kansas, where he had a misleading result. His average finish is 8.5. So if he's going to get it fixed and get on the right track, this could be the week.
Could very well be the week. Little Joker had Barry top 3 in Nabisco top 3 last week. And you're going to Nashville in person.
Yeah, you probably going to Nashville in person because you paid for the tickets with those tickets.
Yeah, you did.
Jesus.
Beautiful.
Boy, those were not looking good for a long time. And then, you had a hell of a day. So shout out to you, Little Joker.
Yeah. And Brian was actually at in New Hampshire for the race. Can't believe the NASCAR waited and restarted the race. Yeah.
Again, more important than the Coca-Cola 374.5. So
apparently
the crown jewel, that is the USA Today 301.
What is that state? The don't bowl me over state. I don't know, whatever Nashville or New Hampshire is, whatever it is. All right. We're out of there. We're out of New Hampshire. We are into Nashville in Lebanon, Tennessee, a la the Nashville Not So Super Speedway. 300 laps around this 1.33333 mile track for 399.900 miles. Yeah, that's right, Brian. Live free or die. I know. I don't really care about that state anymore. Never did. And so we're in Nashville. I love Nashville. I love downtown Nashville. I love being in the area. I was able to watch many a Nashville or a Tennessee Titans game in that Nashville area, and it was gorgeous. So absolutely love it. Cannot wait for this race. This is only the 4th time that it has been here in the Cup Series, recent history, right? So especially in this next gen era, like Cody said, not a lot to compare it to. It really just compares to itself. And then we look at other mile and a thirds. We look at other miles. We look at some mile and a halves that kind of comp to it, but I didn't take a lot of those in consideration because we're seeing a lot of the same drivers hang around the front, except for when there's chaos. So I'm tired of building for chaos, Cody. I just want a race that we can kind of predict.
Good luck, Rod.
No, and at best believe there's going to be weather in Vegas this week. I just know it. There's never anything.
I like how
in July.
Brian threw you off there. You called it Vegas because he said Nash Vegas, and you said there's going to be weather in Vegas, but they're in Nashville, Rod.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, buddy. My brain is so chock full of all kinds of crazy stuff right now. If you throw anything in front of me, cue cards, I'm going to read it. So, beautiful stuff. All right, Cody. I think it's just about time to get to the bets. What about you? Free Kyle Busch. But first, before we do that, let's go commercial free the rest of the way. Speaking of cue cards, let's tell you about Rhythm. If you're betting on player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm is the go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable insights, empowering bettors with smarter, data-driven decisions. Unlike other platforms, Rhythm combines predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making betting both easy and enjoyable if it wasn't already. Rhythm's predictive models were born from the brains of MIT data scientists, so you know that is full of great information, and quants with over 3 years of, don't Google quants right now, just take my word for it, with over 3 years of data that help drive you to better AI-backed betting decision. Rhythm projections have been red hot for WNBA and golf, so go claim that 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. We go commercial free for the rest of this show, Cody. I believe it is time to give the people what they want. I'll sit back while you just keep the rest of the show going.
I hope that you are prepared. I brought a lot of stuff to the table today, Rod.
Brought some baggage with them.
A couple of things. There's some long shots in here. So again, reminder, not all the long shots hit. That's how this works. But you're looking for value. So I will say, like, just as far as the odds go, like, the outrights are fairly pathetic at the top of the board this week. Like, there's a ton of people, all like 8-1 and under, which is just not like great. So you got 2, 4, 6. The top 7 guys are all 9-1 or under. Some books it's even less than that. So not wonderful. But like farther down the board, when you get into the top 5s, the top 10s, some of this other stuff, there's a lot of good big numbers. So I'm going to take it a little lighter on like the regular bets, I guess you could say, this week, and kind of sprinkle a bunch of stuff and maybe just pray for some chaos. This will be like the least chaotic week we've had ever. But yeah, that's just to set this up. Again, that's how we're going to go. So, Rod, I am a avid supporter of free Kyle Busch, but until Kyle Busch is freed, I'm going to fade him. The way to fade him this week over on Bet365, Bubba Wallace over Kyle Busch plus 100. That's basically my entire thing is just Kyle Busch can't catch a break. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. He did have 4th place at Dover, so I will toss it out there because there's a lot of comps from that track to this track. But he's had good cars for weeks and weeks, and that's what I thought. Like, that's what you thought going into last week was, well, he's had good cars. They just haven't got the result, and something still goes wrong. He just can't catch a fucking break. He's upset. He's pissed off. So I'm going to take it. And yes, I know people like JDK are going to be like, wow, Bubba fucks it up every week too. Like, yeah, he does, but he doesn't. Like 34th in New Hampshire last week. But before that, like 17th at Iowa, 20th at Sonoma, 21st at Gateway. Then you go into a mile and a half, 11th place at Charlotte, 7th place at Darlington, 17th at Kansas isn't too bad, 7th at Texas. Those are some numbers that I am liking. So give me Bubba Wallace over Kyle Busch. I don't think that Bubba Wallace is necessarily going to be all that great, but I think he can just survive the race to get to the end, and Kyle can't. You're getting him at even money over Kyle Busch. So Bubba Wallace over Kyle Busch plus 100 over on Bet365.
It's not like it's fun to fade Kyle Busch. It's really not. You want Kyle Busch to do well because a good Kyle
last
Busch
week, Rod. I bet way too many bets on Kyle Busch last weekend.
You loved you some Kyle Busch last week, and that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, listen, a good Kyle Busch makes for a better sport. So I'm not. I hate to do it, but I definitely agree with you on this one too. And then, you know that I think Bubba's due.
Well, then good. We can root for that. So also, hey Brian, you want to maybe not give out all my bets, please? Thank you.
Brian's in the dock. That's all right.
Brian's already cheating. He knows he's got the answer key.
Yeah, he does. He's the one that's already in there making the curve go skewed. All right, I'm going to start out with a bet that this is on Bet365. Please do not come at us for not citing our sources, okay? And even then, sometimes you just get into it and you just forget.
We're giving these people way too much time anyways.
Yeah, we are.
Like, if you don't want to listen, don't listen because literally nobody cares.
Nope, nobody cares.
Yeah, we're shopping around trying to find you the best line. So if it's not the line that you saw when it opened on your specific one book, I'm sorry, but people have a lot of options and there's a lot of shit out there. So fucking look around or ask us, hey, where'd you get this line at? And then you'll find it. So anyways, moving on.
From my book that we've already told you, we're starting our own sports book. So from our book, Ryan Blaney over William Byron. On this track in particular, if you go back and look at the track histories, this is not going to be a bet that you're going to want to make because when you look at William Byron, his 3 races here have resulted in a 3rd place finish, a 35th place finish, and a 6th place finish. Whereas Ryan Blaney, on the other hand, has a 37th place finish, a 3rd place finish, and a 36th place finish. Ryan Blaney has not done well at the Nashville Not So Superspeedway. However, I will say that Ryan Blaney, to me, shows a little more promise than William Byron, who, if you look at the last few races for William Byron, 3 of the last 4 have resulted in a finish outside of the top 15. 15th at Gateway, 30th at Sonoma Road Course. We tossed that out. The only really good finish in that span was at 2nd place at Iowa a couple weeks ago, but had a very rough outing last week in New Hampshire to finish 26th. Ryan Blaney, on the other hand, kind of the opposite. In 2 of the 4 races, he's actually had some pretty good finishes. 24th at Gateway, 7th at Sonoma. Again, I'll throw that out. And then a 1st place in Iowa. He unfortunately did not have a good day either in New Hampshire, but he did start on the outside pole, right? Finished 25th. He still finished better. Let's get this straight. He did finish better than William Byron in that race too. So even finishing 25th, he still cashed this bet. Again, this is sort of me. William Byron got off to a hot start. There is no doubt about that, right? William Byron looked like the guy to beat, looked like championship driver for 2024. Sorry, Tyler Reddick. but he did. He had every trapping of being the champ this year, right? But he has sufficiently cooled off to the point where I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on with our friend William Byron over the last few weeks. Now I say that, but he had like a 6th place and a 3rd place finish, a 6th place at Darlington and a 3rd place at Charlotte. But before that, 23rd at Kansas, 33rd at Dover. I mean, that hot start that he had kind of dropped off after Talladega, right? Because after Talladega, you could draw a line in where Talladega was 7th, Texas was 3rd, Martinsville was 1st, Richmond was 7th, Austin was 1st, right? Bristol, bad day, short track, whatever, 18th, 10th, 17th. So again, this is more about William Byron losing footing. And I mean, this is not an easy track to find your footing at again. And I think that we've seen the struggles and we've seen him not necessarily finish where he wants to finish. Whereas Ryan Blaney, his season has been quite abysmal too, defending the championship. But I feel like that win in Iowa may have woken him up, right? And may put him on a good track. And we saw that well, I mean, they didn't qualify, but we saw that potentially in what was could have been a decent run for him. I'm just so mad at that race. I'm erasing that one from my memory banks altogether. So yeah, definitely. So give me Ryan Blaney over William Byron. This is -110 over at Bet 365. My brother checking in saying not to, where did it go? I hate not being home. Just to touch on KFB one more time, I'll admit, still dislike him just enough to enjoy this latest run, but I'm starting to feel bad for the guy. Yeah, I mean, even the haters are like, enough is enough, guys. Quit it. He's already dead.
Stop kicking him while he's down, Rod. Jeez. Yeah, it's been rough, but hey, we're here to make money, so that's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. All right, Rod, next up for me, I'm going to take a peek over into the top 5 market. Go with our guy, Noah Gragson. I highly considered playing him as a top 10. I would suggest maybe you look into that and think so. You know, if you think so, I got a lot of other top 10, so I wanted to kind of reach a little bit more here. 12-1 for him over on Bet365. By the way, that's where we get a lot of our bets from because they generally offer the best odds. I know they're not available everywhere. I get it. That sucks, but that's how it goes. So we're looking for the best stuff. We can get it for you. We'll get it to you. If you can get this at 11-1 somewhere else, then it's probably okay. I'm not gonna tell you that it's not no value unless it's 11.37256. Anyways, okay. All right, I'm done, Rod.
We're
top
feisty
5
today. We're
for Noah
feisty.
Gragson.
Is it Nashville?
I don't know what it is. Well, and we're back together. We haven't been together a lot here lately, so I like it. Lately, Gregson, it's been a little so-so the last few weeks, right? A lot of short tracks, a lot of different situations. New track in Iowa. Rain race last week. Things just kind of all over the place. But if you go back and look before that, he did go out of Charlotte early in that race, had some issues there. But 14th at Darlington, an okay day. But 9th at Kansas, 6th at Dover, 6th at Las Vegas. That's Noah Gragson I think could show up. He's racing for a job, Rod. He was one of the guys that was kind of tossed out there for the 19 car. We now know he's not getting the 19 ride, obviously. So where is he going to land next year? What ride is going to be his? I think he's still looking for that job. I think that this is a good place. I think the scent has kind of fallen off of him because it's been, again, so-so the last few weeks from him, but different styles of tracks. Now we're going back to these faster, intermediate type of track that this is supposed to be, right? 6th at Dover, 6th at Las Vegas, 9th at Kansas. That's the type of Noah Gragson that I think could show up this week. I think at 12-1 makes him great odds. And then give me Alex Bowman top 10 plus 220. This one's still over on Bet365 at this number. I know it's fallen some other places. But, Bowman's been kind of so-so the last few weeks. Don't want to say I told you so, Rod, but told you so because we knew he wasn't going to be that good at a lot of these races. Now 8th place at Iowa. He did catch your top 10 there if you kept riding it. But you go back. 9th at Charlotte, 8th at Darlington, 7th at Kansas, 8th at Dover, 4th at Bristol. By the way, Bristol, a concrete track, some tire wear. And for the record, too, they're using the same tires here that they used at Vegas, Kansas. I think Charlotte was the other one. But so just to kind of give you an idea of what tires should be, we shouldn't have a Bristol type of situation. But concrete tracks are generally harder on tires. That's why certain drivers do better on concrete than they don't. Bowman had a nice 4th place finish with the tire fiasco there. So I think that was great. You go back and you look at what he's done here. 17th, the 36th, and the 14th. So he hasn't cracked the top 10 just yet. But I think on the similar style of tracks, he's done well. 17th last year was still 17th with a broken back, which I think can be upgraded, obviously, because he wasn't performing at his best level. He's been really good on the intermediates here this season. I think we're going to see that again from Bowman this week. Plus 220. Time to jump back on the Alex Bowman train for top 10. So Gragson top 5, 12-1. Bowman top 10, plus 220.
Choo. For Gragson, I feel like it's just been wrong place, wrong time. Maybe a couple of those times he may have nudged him away, but I think the last couple times have been just wrong place, wrong time. I think I agree with you on Bowman as well, and I definitely I didn't fit him in, but I definitely wanted to put him somewhere in there. So I'm glad you.
I got some more bets on Bowman.
Yeah, you do.
I'm feeling a nice ball. It's the Ally 400 dot. Feeling a good week from him. Troy in the chat. What's up, fellas?
Hey, what's up, Troy?
Justin as well said hammering. That's our friend Chiefs from over in the Discord. Hammering Kyle Busch till he wins again. Gonna win big when he finally does. Might be a while, but hey, welcome to you. Walter says feisty group today. It is like 147 degrees here too, so I think that doesn't help. It's hot as fuck, Rod. So but anyways, feisty group today. That's why you guys are the best. Give your opinion, whether people like it or not. Although I have to say, Cody's on a heater in the pick driver contest, head to the top. I have. That's the one place I bet on fire, Rod. The one and dones last couple of weeks, fucking nailing them. I had Bell this past weekend, Blaney 2 weeks ago. Maybe I just need to bet on the guy who I taken the one and done pull. So I haven't looked to see who I'm going to take this week, but that's okay. Brian as well. Reddick going to win at 10-1. What? You stop giving out all my picks, please.
Nah.
He said he was sitting and praying for rain on 20 and 16-1 tickets. That was our friend Shandy over in the Discord. Had just a massive day going on. Now, he was saved in the rain. He had a Briscoe top 4 bet that cashed. Troy wants to know, let's say Custer was racing in Cup. What would his odds and outright be, or odds be for outright in top 10? Is he racing in SHR, or is he racing at the Haas factory team? Because the Haas factory team, he's probably going to run about 32nd every week, I would say. Mm-hmm. I don't think that team is going to be any good. Unless Gene just pays out the ass, which he could because he's the richest owner in NASCAR. So he's got that capability. Who wants to work for him? That car is just going to be horrible. I don't even think you're going to want to bet on it. Custer's a talented driver and he does fine. Wasn't that great at Stewart Haas before. The reason he got demoted back down to Xfinity, and even in Xfinity, he hangs around in the top 5 all day, and that's kind of just where he finishes time and time again. But it's not like he dominates there, although he did before, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that team is going to be any good by itself. We'll see what people they keep. Like a Rodney Childers sticks around, something like that, then yeah, you could change my mind, but I don't see that happening. Brian says 100-1. Yeah, probably, maybe even bigger.
In that range, yeah. All right, my second bet, I will turn to AJ Allmendinger, who is not a popular driver on this show, in the Cup Series especially, but top 10 for him, plus 500, 5-1 for a top 10 for AJ Allmendinger. He's had 2 runs on this track as a Cup Series driver. Last year, he did turn a 19th place start into a 10th place finish. The time before that, he turned a 14th place start into a 19th place finish. This is a 5-1 for a reason. This is definitely carrying a little bit of risk with it, especially given the fact that AJ is still not a full-time driver in this one. And the only time he's really scored a top 10 finish is on the 2 road courses and the Superspeedway. Outside of that, he had a 23rd at Bristol. And then last week, he had a 36th in Iowa. I mean, it doesn't look good for our young man, but AJ Allmendinger is one of those guys where all it takes is for him to get comfortable and to be able to run inside of the top 10. It's not as if he does not have the talent to run in the top 10. The fact that he's done it on this track already gives me a little bit of hope. And I say that as I lift my voice up so that it sounds like a question mark. But I really want to believe that AJ Allmendinger at 5-1 can repeat something of which he did last season on this as well. I can't even count Iowa as anything because Iowa was a brand new track. Iowa was just an experiment. He got crashed out.
I bet on him at Iowa, Rod. Thanks.
I know you did.
Thanks for tossing that out there.
You want the knife? I'll twist it even farther into you if I can. But yeah, crashed out after 54 laps. Just didn't get the opportunity to run at all, honestly, on this track. He did start 16th though, or 18th though, which kind of it's close enough to the top 10 to where it's not out of their own possibility for AJ Allmendinger to get inside of the top 10. You look at a track like Dover for AJ Allmendinger, his average finish not very well, but last year he finished, or this year rather, he finished 13th. So just 3 spots outside of the top 10. He did start inside of the top 10 as well. So again, it's not a comp track per se, but I'm willing to take a stab 5-1 at AJ Allmendinger for a top 10. I know Go Fast Troy is not a fan of that, and that's okay. You don't have to be. And when I lose money on AJ Allmendinger, it's on me, not on you.
All these beautiful, sexy, gorgeous, just top 10s out here, Rod, and you pick AJ Allmendinger at 10-1 or 5-1.
Because I feel like this is going to be a chalky top 10. I feel like if you take any stabs, it may not hit. I mean, Haley top 10. Yeah, I get it. I get why the appeal is there because he's done it so many times, but even still, I don't know. But go ahead, make your case because you're gonna do that next.
I am gonna do that, Rod. Go ahead and have a drink, sit back and relax. I've got multiple top 10s for you. I could have added more, but I showed some self-restraint and stopped here. But as I'm scrolling down and looking, like multiple guys that I just really like at these numbers to get inside the top 10. Let's take a walk with me, if you will, here, Rod. Let's go back and just look at the last couple of weeks. You go back to last week in New Hampshire. Yeah, some crazy shit happened, some weird stuff. Top 10 finishers last week. Ricky Stenhouse, John Hunter Nemechek. Like, okay, so that's some pretty crazy stuff, right? So let's go back to Iowa and let's see what we've had for top 10 finishers. Ricky Stenhouse again. Oh, there's a little trend going on. Todd Gilliland right outside the top 10. Haley Hocevar all right outside the top 10. You go back to, we're going to skip Sonoma because that's a road course. You go back to the race before that. Austin Cindric, for one, wins the race. So Austin Dillon's inside the top 10. Carson Hocevar, Justin Haley inside the top 10 at Gateway. We've had just kind of a string of like crazy guys you don't really see coming top 10 finishers here lately. I think that that's going to continue because I think that we have reached that level of some of these teams are, stepping up and looking different. And Troy says you can't look at last week's top 10s completely flipped. Yeah, but okay, so let's look at it before the rain comes, right? Because Justin Haley's running top 5. There were some other crazy people up there. And things like, that's the thing though, is like, yeah, going into that race, you didn't predict that to happen, but it's been happening because we've had weird shit at some of these races. I think that stuff can happen in addition to these guys just being good. So they're all long shots for a reason, but long shots nonetheless. Todd Gilliland is the first one, Rod. 12-1 for a top 10 over on Bet365. Let me read you Todd Gilliland's finishes lately. 12th, 10th, 16th, 17th, 15th, 14th. iFantasy Race tweeted this out. Since the Kansas race, Todd Gilliland has the 6th best average finish in all of NASCAR, tied with Tyler Reddick at 13.7. He's got that multi-year contract extension, and he is running with it, taking full advantage. 17th place at Charlotte, 14th at Kansas, 15th at Darlington, some other kind of comp tracks where he's at least been close. You tell me he can be within 4, 5, 7 spots of the top 10 at 12-1. Maybe some crazy shit happens or whatever the case may be. I like that for Gilliland. Give me Justin Haley, 16-1. Been betting on this time and time. Okay, Troy. So, you just gave all the picks out. Thank you. Slow down and let me tell you first. Justin Haley is the next one. Top 10, 16-1 over on Bet365. Rod, we've been betting this every single week. How many times has it hit for us? And last week he was top 5 at the rain break when they red flagged it. He was going to finish in the top 10. Even to that last restart, he was still inside the top 10. And then I just watched his little number on the ticker go down and horribly. So that was unfortunate. But that's how it goes. You go back and you look though at what he's been able to do, and you say, well, yeah, we've had a lot of short tracks here lately. Like that's probably going to lean a little more into what he's got to offer. I get that for sure. But 9th place at Darlington. is this track super comparable to Darlington? No, but there's a lot of tricky, tough things about Darlington. This is going to be a little bit higher tire wear, the concrete. I like that. He was 18th place at Kansas, 17th place at Bristol. Again, kind of hanging around and getting good results there. 9th at Gateway, even at 13th at Iowa, a new track that nobody knew about. Last 2 years here, Rod, 23rd place. But that was in shitty calling equipment. He's upgraded to Rick Ware Racing now. Much better than call. It's so funny every time. And then also, shout out to Ryan over at iFantasy Race. The Justin Haley good every other week intangible in play at Nashville. Roddy finished 18th at Kansas, then 9th at Darlington. 22nd at Charlotte, then 9th at Gateway. 33rd at Sonoma, then 13th at Iowa. 29th at New Hampshire. Top 10 at Nashville, baby. Give me Justin Haley. Top 10. And then, as Troy says here, he would take Gilly, Haley, and Recky. Give me Recky Spinhouse. Rod, Recky Stenhouse has an average finish here of 14.7 in 3 races. Pretty good. 22nd last season, 16th and 6th in his other 2 starts. 2 top 10 finishes in a row. This team's on fire. 7th place last week. Again, you needed the rain and stuff late. I don't care. They're finding a way to work through it. 5th place at Iowa. Needed to trap a bunch of cars, a lap down by not letting them take the wave around because it worked in their favor. It doesn't matter. Finding ways to get there. You'd love to see that. 16th place at Kansas, 17th place at Vegas. Showed speed at intermediates as well for him. Give me Ricky Stenhouse at 16-1. So Gilliland 12-1, Haley 10-1, Stenhouse 16-1. All top 10 shots. Are they all going to hit, Rod? Probably. But okay, probably not. But hopefully. That's what we're going for. Or at least hopefully to hit one of them is the goal here.
Cody forgot I was on the show again. Let's just put it that way. Cody,
I've had to talk a lot here lately, Rod. So see, I was protecting myself, putting all these bets in here in case you didn't show up tonight. Since you've been leaving me to hang here lately. Yeah.
I know. I was like, Cody, go swim, buddy. Here's the deep end. Have at it. But you've been doing a fantastic job, buddy. I'm so glad that I did select you out of the blue long time ago to be my partner in this ride, because
me too.
yeah, you definitely have earned your keep and then some. So, all right. So I am choosing a top 5 for my next bet. Ross Chastain plus 125 on Hard Rock is my next bet. Look, there are only 2 drivers in the entire history of the 3 races in which a driver has finished inside of the top 5 in all 3 of the races. Kyle Larson is one. Ross Chastain is the other. He's the only driver on this track that has finished inside of the top 3 in the top 5 rather of all of the races. Ross Chastain on the Nashville Not So Super Speedway, a runner-up finish in 2021, a 5th place finish in 2022. He won the damn thing from the pole last season in 2023. Here's the thing. You're going to say to me, but Rod, Ross Chastain has been completely horrible this season. Ross Chastain has not had any real sort of success. It hasn't been all that great for Ross Chastain. And I say to you, you know what? If you look at the season that Ross Chastain had around his win at Nashville, I will say to you that it doesn't matter what happened around Nashville, right? Darlington, 29th last year. Charlotte, 22nd. Gateway, 22nd. He did have a top 10 in Sonoma, so good for him. But Nashville ended up finishing first after winning the pole. Chicago came back down to earth in a 22nd. Atlanta, 35th. Loudon, 23rd. Look, again, this is one of those instances where a driver can rise above the season to be able to do well on a specific track. This is a specific track in which Ross Chastain has had a lot of success. That runner-up finish, by the way, was not in the 1 car. That was in the 42 car back in that Ganassi days, right? So he's had a 5th place finish and a win in his time in Trackhouse here. I know people are going to point to it and say that Ross Chastain has been hot garbage lately, and he knows it, and we all know it. I mean, it's no secret, right? The guy has not necessarily been to follow up his success, but keep in mind, his average finish is still 12.3, right, this season. So as much as we love to harp on the fact that he's had finishes of 32 at Texas, a couple of bad outside of the top 15 finishes at Kansas, where he finished 19th, right? I mean, I get it. Bristol, 15th, but you also look at Phoenix, 6th place finish, Vegas, 4th place finish. You look at Charlotte, 8th place, and so on and so on. Yeah, it was not a top 10 finish for him in New Hampshire last week, or at Loudon, or at Iowa rather, the week before. But like I said, Ross Chastain just has a way of being able to get around this particular track, right? So definitely. And then Brian saying Ross does have the best paint scheme this week. So there's that.
I hate how good those fucking Busch Light cars look always, Rod. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is a kick-ass paint scheme. It looks nice. Busch Light still sucks, but little Joker saying Haley wrecking Chastain last week was the Lord's work, and Brian saying that Ross is in betting jail for him as well. That's kind of where I feel, but man, Ross, yeah, and I think Troy actually kind of puts it the best way here. This is exactly what I was trying to think of. I don't think Ross has been horrible, just not great either, whatever that means. I think you fucking nailed it. Like
it's the
that's exactly
emoji. That's what it is.
Oh my God, Ra, you killed it. Yes, he is meh lately, but guys are really good on certain tracks. Look at Austin Cindric a few weeks ago. Like when you're good on a track, a lot of times that shows up. Maybe not Kyle Busch last week, but usually it shows up, Rod. So or Brad Keselowski last week. Oh, I got to stop looking for bad examples here. But I think that you've got a point. I don't know that I could pull the trigger on Chastain, but he's been really fucking good here. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, Rod, I'm going to go over to the manufacturer market. I'm going to go back to top Ford. There is a lot of, so the top of this board, it's Blaney at plus 130. Again, he should be up there. Logano plus 340. What's he going to do? Hardest guy to predict every week. Keselowski at 5-1. He burned me so bad last week. I don't want to touch him. Buescher at 6-1. I like Buescher this week. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later. But then it kind of drops off there, and you've got just a cluster of guys. I think that much like the top Chevy and Xfinity, you kind of just attack this because the Fords are still a bit unpredictable. Yes, Ryan Blaney should be up there as the best Ford because he generally is, but he isn't always. Or he runs out of gas, or Michael McDowell takes him out, or X happens, or Y happens. Like, that's the thing with these top Fords. So I think that's what you're looking for here. So I'm going to go with 2 long shots. Both these guys are 35-1 over on Bet3. Or no, wait. I fucked that up. One of these guys. No, wow.
There you go, making up lines again, Cody. Come on now.
I thought I was. They are both. They're both 35-1 on Caesars right now. Just verified it with my own eyes, Rod. I'm going to take Austin Cindric, top Ford at plus 350. Don't change the dial. I understand that it's a bit of a reach, okay, but I don't think you can comp Gateway too much to this, other than they're very, very similar in size. 1.25 miles, 1.33 miles, very close. One's asphalt, one's concrete. I get it. But Austin Cindric has had little tiny glimpses of stuff and finished 7th place here 2 seasons ago, 27th last year. So that's, again, variance you're going to get there. Little Joker says I've been huffing gas. Okay, it is very hot here. I will tell you that. But I think it's worth just a little bit of a sprinkle. He also can gamble. He's locked into the playoffs, as NBC will tell you, even though that's mathematically not correct. But I like Cindric a little bit, just a top Ford at 35-1. This is a chaos bet, right? You're going to need chaos because you're going to need something to happen to Ryan Blaney. Maybe the RFK Fords miss it. Maybe SHR doesn't show up. Well, all of a sudden, if those things happen, Joey Logano's the only person standing in your way as far as guys in front of this. And look what happened to him last week. Fast car, didn't finish the race. It's not impossible that he could just run top 10, have a solid day. He's, I think, plus 450 for a top 10. I looked at that too. Went this route instead. It's not going to be where he probably finishes in 2nd place and is the top finishing Ford, although he can because we just saw him win a race a couple of weeks ago, Rod. So I like it at 35-1. Michael McDowell, 35-1 as well. Kind of the similar thing to the Todd Gilliland argument earlier, which Gilliland is 70-1. So it's worth a look, Rod. Didn't want to give him out twice here, but worth a look for sure. McDowell, if he's not making stupid fucking choices like he did last week, he can run up front. He's got that ability. I don't know. Really, that's kind of the only main thing I have on him. 16th at Charlotte, 10th at Darlington, 10th at Kansas, 11th at Bristol. So not bad runs by him, decent runs. 13th and 16th place in 2 races here, 28th in the other one. So got that ability. Again, for either of these to hit, you're going to need a little bit of chaos. You're going to need some things to happen to the other Fords. I think for the value you're getting on them, give them to me. And then Alex Bowman, top finishing Chevy at 25-1. I think Bowman's going to show up and be good. Bowman has that ability to maybe even go out and win this race or just run top 2 or top 3 randomly at the end of the day because he can. 25-1 top Chevy. Give me some Alex Bowman.
Love it. Is there a driver you did not hit in that one? And if so, support. No, I'm just kidding. Look, you're right. I mean, we saw McDowell actually drive very well with that strategy. And I think a lot of what ended up being at the end of that race was just a really, they should not have stopped. They should not have kept that race going. I feel like they or at least let them. I'm done. I'm done. But again, yeah, I can see either one of these happening. I don't know about Cindric though.
And Walter, real quick too, wants our opinion on Barry. Like for top Ford market, he's only 12-1. His top 10 market's not great. He has quietly had a good season, which I like, but reliable enough to want to bet these shorter numbers. He's kind of in that weird spot of you want to sort of bet on him, but you can't really find a good way. So I don't know.
Well, it's the books know that he's doing well, and they're trying to make sure that he doesn't jump up and accidentally do it and cost them money. Barry saying, "What's up, boys? It's been a while. What's up, Barry? Josh Barry? No? Oh, Barry. Okay, yeah. All right. My next bet, I'm going to put 2 of the Hendrick Motorsports drivers inside of the top 5. Give me both Larson and Elliott to finish inside of the top 5 at plus 290 on Caesars Sportsbook. I almost feel like I don't have to justify this one in that it's Chase Elliott, it's Kyle Larson, 2 of the best drivers in the sport. Kyle Larson, as I said before, is one of only 2 drivers that has finished every single race inside of the top 5. He won in 2021, finished 4th in 2022, finished 5th in 2023. Whereas Chase Elliott on this particular track finished 39th in his first run at it, won the second time, and finished in 4th in the third time around. Chase Elliott averaging a 9.6 average and consistent, 1000% consistent this season. This dude has been so money on these finishes, right? Unfortunately, last week he could not turn a pole into a win, but 3rd at Iowa, 4th at Sonoma, 13th at Gateway, 7th at Charlotte, 3rd at Kansas, 5th at Dover, 1 Texas, 3rd at Martinsville, 5th at Richmond. There are in total 7 top 5 finishes and 18 starts for Chase Elliott this season. And honestly, like I said, to put both of these guys inside of the top 5 is a great bargain. Kyle Larson's average finish this season, 8th, right? 4th place at Loudon last week. We know what happened in Iowa. We don't have to rehash that. He won at Sonoma, 10th at Gateway, 1 at Kansas, 2nd at Dover, 2nd at Martinsville, 3rd in Richmond, 5th at Bristol. Overall on the season for Kyle Larson, 8 also top 5s in 17 starts this season. These guys are going to get inside the top 5. Why not lump both of them together? For their top 5 numbers are not great by themselves. So put both of them together to be inside the top 5 on Caesars at plus 290. I absolutely love it. This is one that I will be putting mine on because I am, and of course, in Virginia.
Yes. I'm very jealous of you being in a legal state. Love the Elliott side of this. And again, I like the Larson side. We talked about it earlier. You just got to find good ways to get in on him. And I think that this is a good way. So I do like that. Little Joker saying, Cody, go hard or go home. Fincham top Ford. Reminded me that we forgot to talk about the entry list, Rod. So
yeah.
Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Real quickly, there is 38 cars entered for this. Riley Herbst back in the 15 car for Rick Ware Racing. AJ Allmendinger in the 16, as you probably figured out from Rod's bet. Corey Heim is in the 50 car for 2311, a 3rd entry for them. And Chad Fincham in the 66 car. Do not collect Chad Fincham. Do not pass go. And don't play him in fantasy. Avoid that 66 car at all possibilities. Okay, Rod, the Caesar Speakeasy is back open with the finishing positions. And, I got in the dock and I was a little surprised to see you didn't have any of these. So I just took most of them because I wanted to, because, yes, I like them. So, and like the selection of guys we're getting in this is great. The fact that all these are in the 20s are great. It gets you to look up and down the board and root for stuff farther on back in the field. This went well for us last week, so we're going in on it again this week. And I did want to, Brian had mentioned earlier If you think I will add that if you think he had a bounce back week, has a bounce back week, likely translates to the 3 team as well. 16-1, top 10 on 83 would be worth it. If so, you could look that way, but you could also look Austin Dillon better than 24.5 or under would be, again, confusing terms here. It'd be under 24.5, which is to finish better than 24.5. Rod, 3 starts here, 12th, 14th, and 13th place. What do you want from the guy? Like, let's go. He's gotten it done all 3 times. Not even close. That's 10.5 spots better in his worst finish in 3 starts here. So he's been solid here. 6th place at Gateway a couple weeks ago, 8th place at Texas, 24th at Bristol, 16th at Las Vegas. Some very comparable tracks where he's had good finishes. Austin Dillon better than 24.5. Rod? Yeah, buddy, we found a way to break out the Corey LaJoie picture. No ugly Iowa Hawkeyes car for him this week. I will take the over on number of times Corey LaJoie spins out in this race. I don't care what it's set at. Give it to me. But that being said, Rod, even though his number's set at 28.5, and he does find a way to spin out 3 or 4 times every race, it seems like, he still seems to finish better than this number. So, because I looked at this, to be honest and transparent with all of you, I saw this number and I immediately thought, okay, I'm doing it. I'm betting against Corey LaJoie. We're going to take the worst then on this. We're going to bet his higher or whatever it is, over on the number. But then as I researched it, I'm like, no, he's actually been getting decent finishes, better than 28.5. So that's what we're going to go with. Corey LaJoie under 28.5. 3 races in a row, Rod. We had the rain last week, still finished better than. And he spun in the rain at one point, still finished better than this. Iowa, he wrecked that Iowa car on lap 4, still finished better than 28.5. So it's been good. You go back through the 19 races we've had this season, 11 times he's finished better than this number. 16th at Darlington, 26th at Kansas, 21st at Dover, 22nd at Texas, 21st at Bristol. All of these, he finished better than the 28.5. So I love it. Also in 3 starts here. In 2021, before the next-gen car in the shitty Spire car, 15th place, and then 20th and 20th the last 2 seasons, both of those being better than the 28.5. And then Rod, 2 weeks in a row, give me Harrison Burton. He cashed for us last week, taking him again this week, 29.5. The disrespect on Harrison Burton. 25th and 21st in his 2 starts here, just like last week. His numbers were better, and he was better. 3 in a row for him as well, finishing better than this number of 29.5, 29.5th place. 9 of the 19 races, he's finished better than this. But most importantly, Rod, 6 of the last 10 races, Harrison Burton's finished higher than 29.5 position. All of these are minus 115. Austin Dillon, 24.5. LaJoie, 28.5. Burton, 29.5. Let's fucking go. Love having these guys farther down the board to be able to bet on. Taking all 3 of them on the under, which would be to finish better than, and that is, by the way, over on the Caesar Sportsbook app, in case you're looking for that.
I mean, look, all you got to do is finish better than the guys like Zane Smith out there who's been running around in the back. All you got to do is finish better than the Daniel Hemricks of the world, and you're in there. So gotta love that, and I love all 3 of those. So definitely. Especially Harrison Burton. I mean, he's read all of the stories about him, and he's the Michael Jordan saying, and I took that personally. So, I 100% love all of these. All right.
You can't parlay them, Walter.
Yeah, you can't do it. Unfortunately. Yeah. Parlay's not good. All right. I'm going to go back to my winning number. It's been a while for me. I think maybe it's not. I don't know. It feels like it's been a while for my winning car.
Because you haven't been here for the recap shows, right?
This is very true. This is very true. So I will take the winning car number, and I'll take this under 10.5 at plus 165 on Caesars. Allow me to read you the 3 winners of the NASCAR Cup Series races at the Nashville Supermotor, not quite Superspeedway. 2021, Kyle Larson. His car number equals 5. The second year of that, it was Chase Elliott. His car number equals 9. Ross Chastain won it last year. His car number equal 1. All of those numbers, Cody, as fried as my brain is, as much information as I've had to cram into this skull over the last week and a half, all fall underneath the 10.5 range. Also under that range is your boy Josh Berry. No, I'm just kidding. Brad Keselowski, who can very much end up winning one. If you want to free Kyle Busch, this is a fantastic week to free Kyle Busch. If he actually wins a race because he's pissed off Kyle Busch, there you go. That is an absolutely good reason. So you get Chastain, you get Larson, you get Elliott, you get Busch, and you get Keselowski. On top of that, hell, you think Austin Dillon's going to turn in a above 24 place finish? What if he accidentally wins this race too? It's not going to be good, but also includes Cindric. Who?
Thank you, Troy. Thank you.
The 2-car? Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, but Chastain, Cindric, Dillon, Berry, Larson, Keselowski, LaJoie, Busch, Elliott, and Gragson, because Gragson is in there as well. So, I feel like it's going to be one of the Hendrick drivers this week.
Yeah.
But I also believe that we're in for a good run from another guy that I'll bring up in an outright. But all three of the past winners of this race have been under 10. And we've seen how Larson has been lately, right? He's ran into some bad luck as if he's on super speedways. I get it. Chase Elliott, the most consistent driver in there. Brad Keselowski pokes his nose in places he probably shouldn't be poking it in, but he's always there in line for it. So, those three solid drivers with a cast of other potentials makes this, I think, a good bet. And this, I'm sorry, guys. Our plus 165 over on Caesars as of 3:05 Pacific time, 6:05 Eastern time on the 24th of June.
I would also like to issue a correction, because I did say that Kyle Larson hadn't won here earlier. And that was not correct. He did win here in 2021. So thank you for reminding me of that. I apologize for misspeaking. I will, I don't know what I'll do. I'll say
turn in your podcasting card as of now.
Sure. Probably not doing that, but again, I don't really argue with you much on this. Elliott, Larson, and Chastain, getting all those guys in here. I love. You mentioned Elliott's how consistent he's been here lately. Fun stat from Trey Ryan, he's a great stat guy over on the X. Chase Elliott's the first driver in 33 years to start a NASCAR Cup. Dude, holy shit, this fucking guy in the chat. First of all, we've been giving out picks for an hour and 7 minutes, so calm the fuck down. 2, we're about to go through and recap the picks in a minute. So either scroll back and get the picks, or just wait a second. Holy fucking shit. Why are people so feisty lately, Rod? Jesus Christ. Anyways, back to my stat that I have to start over now. Chase Elliott's the first driver in 33 years to start the NASCAR Cup Series season with 18 straight top 20 finishes. Ricky Rudd did it in 91. He's only the 4th driver to do it in the entirety of the modern era, which is 72 to present. Crazy. One of the other people who did it was Bill Elliott in 1987, along with Yarborough and Earnhardt in 80. Yeah. So, just crazy.
It's a Mount Rushmore of freaking drivers there.
That is, yeah, exactly. So, and to be on that short of a list with your dad is pretty crazy. So,
yeah, it is.
That'll lead us right into the outright market, Rod. We'll give out some outright winners if that's what you're looking for here. Chase Elliott, who we just been talking about, plus 850 over on Caesars. I love Chase Elliott this weekend. I think that this is a week. I mentioned before, the odds aren't super great, at the top of the board, as far as you just got to kind of pick a guy and roll with it. And I think Chase Elliott's the guy for me. When I think of concrete tracks, Chase Elliott is the first guy who comes to mind every single time. He's been very, very good on concrete tracks. And Ryan over at iFantasy Race in the next gen at concrete intermediate tracks, which would be Nashville and Dover. Chase Elliott's the only driver with 2 wins, and his average 4.4 finish ranks as the best. So to the point of very good on those for sure. And then at Nashville, here's a recap of his 3 seasons here from Ryan. 2021, he finished in 39th place, but he was disqualified. He crossed the line in 13th. The race ended on a long green flag run, or he had to save fuel. He was running 4th place before that. Speed rankings of the segments in that race were 5th, 9th, 3rd, and then 17th when he was saving fuel. 2022, though, he won the race, led 42 laps, dominated closing time of this with the 4th best total speed ranking. And then last season, 4th place, down year, but still a good run by him. 5th best in the total speed ranking, 5th best in the driver ranking as well for Chase Elliott. So, and you go back and you look at what he's done earlier this season. Don't forget he won at Texas, right? So good run there. Had a good 8th place at Bristol, 7th at Charlotte, 5th place at Dover as well. He's kind of been in the mix all day long, so I like that from Chase Elliott. And then over in the Dover plus high speed 1.5 mile rankings that Ryan has as well, 7th average rank with 8.2 finish. Give me some Chase Elliott at plus 850. That's over on Caesars. Tyler Reddick 10-1. I think Brian mentioned him in the chat earlier as well. Tyler Reddick had a fucking fast car here last season. Won stage 1. Then I don't remember what the issue was, but had an issue, finished in 30th. Always a risk you're going to take with Reddick, but get that little bit of revenge for what should have maybe potentially been a win last week. I like it. 4th place at Texas, 4th place at Charlotte, 2nd place at Las Vegas. Think about how good he always is at Kansas in that 2311 car. They're going to be good. And then Chris Buescher, 40-1 over on Superbook. I know that might not be the number that everybody's seen, but it is 40-1 on Superbook right now, Ron. Love me some Chris Buescher this week. And really, like, what I'm kind of thinking as far as Chris Buescher goes, think back to Kansas and how fucking fast that car was. I know that it seems like Chris Buescher's had just a horrible run here lately, Rod. Does it seem that way to you? Because it seems that way to me. Well, guess what? He's got 2 top 5 finishes in the last 3 weeks. So maybe it hasn't been that bad for Chris Buescher. And I think it was Troy, too, that said earlier, he's just going to, there's going to be 30 laps to go, and all of a sudden Chris Buescher's going to be top 5. Like, that's exactly what's going to happen here. He's going to be in the mix. And at this price, give me some Chris Buescher at 40-1. Ryan over at iFantasy as well. Going back and looking 2021, a bad finish here, 37th, but he was running in 15th place when he crashed early. In 2022, he was 30th, legit top 10 contender, lost a wheel, crashed, but he was 9th in stage 1, 3rd in stage 2, in 9th before he had the tire issue. Last year, 13.4 average running position, 16th in total speed ranking, but he was hanging around in the mix. That's what you want from him. I like what I've seen from Fords lately as far as the intermediates we've had since Kansas, basically, when they sort of figured things out. Chris Buescher being that guy. I like that at 40-1. And then, Rod, I got one more for you. Alex Bowman at 50-1. I told you this feels like his week. I talked about him much earlier, so I'm not going to go on again now. But I do love Alex Bowman. This just feels like the type of week where Alex Bowman pops up and randomly wins, and everybody's like, we didn't see this coming, and then he doesn't win again for another year and a half because that's the way Alex Bowman does it. But give me Alex Bowman 50-1. So Elliott 850, Reddick 10-1, Buescher 40-1, Bowman 50-1. That one's over on Caesars, by the way.
Yeah. I love the Elliott one, obviously, for obvious reasons, because that would definitely cash my winning car number bet. And I do think that Elliott is probably due for another win on a track that is like this. So I love Elliott. The rest of them, you're right. They're long shots for a reason, but not without any sort of, we've seen all kinds of crazy stuff happen this season. So I can't count any sort of long shots out. I'm going to play a little bit closer to the vest, and I'm going to just take Ross Chastain at 8-1. Like I said, I mean, Ross Chastain to win and repeat on this track. Has his season been the greatest? No. And like we said, it's the meh emoji, right? One was it the Emoji Movie where the meh emoji was trying to be something other than meh? Oh, a line change. Plus where now?
850 on Caesars. They have a
on
boost.
Caesars. Oh, that moved because it was 720. It was 750.
It's an odds boost, so you can get Ross Chastain at 850. So.
Then I like it even better. So yeah, Ross Chastain plus 850 over on Caesars. Again, this is a track that he is good on, and this is a track where you can build confidence. There is something to be said in the world of sports, in playing and or competing in an environment in which you are comfortable, in which you feel good, in which you feel like you can do well. Ross Chastain has found that at Nashville. Like I pointed out earlier in his top 5, it doesn't matter how his season's been going around it. He just seems to find a way to be able to do well at Nashville. So I think he can turn that into a back-to-back win here. He needs it. The team needs it. Everybody needs it. Watermelon heads around the world needs it. And then Busch Light sponsorship needs it. So, I mean, you got to love that as well. So, give me Ross Chastain plus 850 to win this race. Cody is frozen.
I love your one bullet to my 4. Oh, hello.
Believe it. You're here. All right. let's get out your pen and paper. We are going to start going over this. And if I'll see you at the end of 20 minutes when we're done, I'll see you at the end of 20 minutes when we're done. Cody started you off with Bubba Wallace over Kyle Busch at plus 100 over on Bet365. I said Ryan Blaney would finish better than William Byron at minus 110 over on Bet365. Cody gave you Noah Gragson as a top 5 at 12-1. Bowen as a top 10 at 22-1 over on Bet365. I said that AJ Allmendinger would be a top 10 car at plus 500 over on Caesars. Cody gave you Todd Gilliland as a top 10 car at 12-1 on 365. Also tossed in Justin Haley as a top 10 at 16-1 on 365, and Stenhouse as a top 10 car at 16-1 rather at 365. These glasses are old, hard to see. And then I gave you Ross Chastain as a top 5 car at plus 125 over on Hard Rock. And then Cody gave you Austin Cindric as the top Ford at 35-1, McDowell at 35-1 over on Caesars as the top Ford, and Bowman as the top Chevy at 25-1 over there on Caesars as well. I said both Larson and Elliott would finish inside of the top 5 plus 290 over on Caesars. Cody gave you Austin Dillon under, which means better than 24.5 at minus 125. Also, LaJoy better than or under rather 29 or 28.5 at minus 115, and then Harrison Burton better than or over or under rather 29.5 at minus 115. I also said that the winning car number would be under. That's definitely easy. 10.5 at plus 165 on Caesars. Cody gave you Chase Elliott at plus 850 to win the race on Caesars. Tyler Reddick at 10-1 as well. Buescher at 40-1 on Superbook, and Bowman at 50-1 over on Caesars to win the race. I said Ross Chastain at plus 850 would be the winner of this Ally 400 from the Nashville Superspeedway in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Made it, Rod.
Made it. Now I have a lot of homework to do as on top of posting this episode. So
yeah, this was a good one. Glad to have you back for another show. Missed you yesterday, of course. And yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff in there, but I feel like there's a lot of good stuff kind of all around the place. And some of it's going to be the bigger, longer shots. You take the smaller sprinkles on those. Again, we're just helping you decide and highlight guys. You make your own picks. You bet your own units. Anyways.
As if we have to explain. We're 430 some odd episodes into this, and we shouldn't have to explain ourselves anymore.
Like most people get it, and so I hate to have to say it, but there's enough stupid people out there that sometimes we have to say it again. So that's how it goes.
Lowest common denominator. That is where we are at. So, all right. Well, then let's let everybody go so they can get themselves filled out in their betting cards and turn them loose for the weekend.
Yes, Rod. Follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. I got lacrosse stuff out, NFL stuff out, F1 stuff out, Tour de France coming out later this week, Arena Football League stuff. I got a little bit of everything, Rod. Check it all out. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Be back tomorrow for Xfinity. And trucks are back, baby. Clint Boyer getting in a truck. We'll have to talk about that. That'll be exciting. See you guys tomorrow.
Beautiful stuff, Walter. One last thing, saying appreciate you, Rod, taking the time out of your busy day. Listen, I love you guys. I swear, if I could be here every single day, I would, but sometimes you just can't get there. So I'm just glad that when I can get here, I can. A week and a half, guys, and then everything's back to normal, and we'll be right back to where we were. So just endure this a little bit longer. In the meantime, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on. I also have AFL stuff when I'm done with this coming out, and yeah, just a lot of fun stuff in the meantime. So everybody, have some fun. Fill out your betting cards. We will see you tomorrow. Hopefully, both of us will see you tomorrow with our Xfinity episode, and we'll have some fun then. So till then, everybody, let's go racing and let it ride.